Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, I'm delighted to be talking with author, comics creator Phoebe Xavier. Phoebe, thank you for jumping in and joining.
Hi, Jason. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Now, I know that you have a book that is on the way, The 13th Moon, third volume, and I also know, being volume 3, there are other volumes of this, and you've written in the world of prose as well, and dabbled in the world of publishing. Is all of this true?
That is all accurate. I self-publish my comic books, and I also self-publish for others. So I developed a brand called 123 Go, 123 Go Publications. That is our logo right there, and it's one of
Nice,
our
nice.
books, Gunmetal Black Ops. That's an anthology book. It's our espionage anthology. It is. I write some of the stories in it, but I would say a majority of the stories that we've run in there are actually other authors. Um, I sometimes will arrange the teams in those other books. I'll match up a writer with an artist, but sometimes they come to me as a whole team already assembled. But yeah, we put out about 20 books, 20 comic books so far, and they're all available at indieplanet.com/123go.
Wonderful, wonderful, very cool. I love that you're out and sharing in these worlds, and you were kind enough to share 13th Moon Volume 3 with me, and so delighted to talk about that. Curious by means of a first official question, what or who are your influences?
Um, so very early in life, my grandfather got me interested in science fiction by giving me my first Isaac Asimov book. So
Hmm.
Asimov would definitely be like first and foremost of who influenced me as a writer. Um, in comic books, I would then say John Byrne and Chris Claremont. Um, I used to own every single issue of Alpha Flight Volume One. I think it was 132
Nice.
issues. Uh, and John Byrne started that one, and I think he made a few other runs on that one. Um, but yeah, I used to buy all of Byrne's stuff, Next Men, and when he was on Superman, and just I really like that guy as both a artist and a writer. Claremont, the X Men run, huge influence on me. Other authors, um, William Gibson is a huge influence on me. He
Hmm. Hmm.
definitely is the reason why I do so much cyberpunk writing. I'm waiting patiently for his next book, Jackpot, that should be here. We've only been waiting like 5 years. um, the
Yeah.
I like some comedy kind of fantasy writers. Christopher Moore is a really brilliant writer that I like to read. Um, the Vlad Taltish sequence by Stephen Brust is definitely a big influence on me. My grandmother and I think I must have been like 12 years old, and we were going to Hershey, Pennsylvania. We're driving across Pennsylvania, and just at a book stop, truck stop or something, I picked up my first Stephen Brust book, and I probably read everything he's written since, except for
Nice.
maybe the latest Talkish book. Yeah. Um, the last year or two, though, my heaviest influence has been Borges from Argentina, the godfather of magical realism. Um,
Hmm.
I knew about him for forever, but I guess I had money the one Christmas to buy myself a. Sorry, there's a message on my phone. Um, I had
That's a good.
I was gonna buy myself a Christmas present, and I bought Borges Ficciones, and that just like totally changed my view on how I wanted to write, and I started writing a couple magical realism stories. One of those is going to be offered as a reward in 13th Moon Volume 3 called Bluetooth. It's kind of about the historical King Bluetooth, and then how later on the Bluetooth technology and him sort of intertwine, like our modern Bluetooth and, technology. And so it's a definitely very, very weird story, and heavily influenced by Borges, who actually that's what I'm reading now. I have his Six Problems for, what is it? Don Isidro Perito. That's co-written, but it's great. Six little short stories. That'll be the third Borges book that I've read.
Cool, cool, very cool. Well, please tell us the backstory of 13th Moon. How did this book and book series come to be?
I think actually, I wanted to write a Halloween anthology. I already had a cyberpunk anthology. I already had an espionage anthology, and I was like, let's do a Halloween horror Kickstarter anthology. And I think the first one had 7 stories, and I was very active that year in a Facebook group called um, Anthology Creators, Comic Book Anthology Creators, which is specifically about people working in anthologies. And so I solicited from there to get submissions. I didn't take everything that was submitted, but the stories that I did receive, put in the book, I'm very proud of. I think we got some really good stories together and some really great teams together. And my friend Bayron, who I'd worked together with on a previous cyberpunk story, he came back to me with this idea of Lucy and the Doombringers. Initially, when he showed me the art a year or two before, it was Lucy and her 2 girlfriends, and they were like, the one was a zombie, and the one was a demon, and like the one was a vampire or something. But he had it narrowed down to like, okay, so there's this one devil girl and these humans that are a metal band, and his story was really fun, really good. I think he gave me the 15 pages with his dialogue already written in, and I redid the dialogue and gave it punch-ups, like gave it more jokes per page kind of, and redid the lettering for him that year. This year he's doing his own lettering so far, but again, I might punch it up right at the last minute and be like, all right, we can add like 2 jokes per page. But it's mostly his plot, mostly his dialogue, definitely all his characters, and yeah. Bayron is a very creative dude from Trenton, New Jersey. He is a tattoo artist by day and a comic book artist by night. And this will be, I think, his 3rd comic book story. And he actually did the cover for 13th Moon Volume 2. So all three volumes of 13th Moon, he'll have done the cover for them. Even though he didn't really have a story in that book, I paid him to do the cover still. I wanted to have a little bit of consistency. You'll see that also on Gunmetal Black Ops. The cover artist is Shwenshin Bunag for this. He did like 3 out of the 4 covers. He hasn't done a single page of interior work for these books. He's just my cover artist for those books, which is something that goes on at the Big 2 as well. That like you'll get like interior art completely different because they got Jim Lee to do the cover or whomever to do the cover. But yeah, so Bayron is back. Lucy and the Doombringers are back. It's a very fun story. Now that they are a fully formed band, they are on tour. This will be their first tour as a metal band together, and that's what the story is in Volume 3.
Awesome, very cool. Very cool. Well, I know from having read the work that there are a variety of stories, there are a variety of approaches, and each one sort of has its own mood. Anything that you'd like to say about your inspiration as you went through from entry to entry?
Yeah, sure. So my story in Volume 3 is Trouble versus Cthulhu. And Trouble is kind of my reluctant superhero from the future. She comes from my cyberpunk books, but she is definitely of a different tone. She is a smartass, cracking jokes, battling bad guys. She really just wants to hang out and have fun. But like issue after issue, Trouble seems to find her, and she has these super awesome nanotech implants on her arms, and she like forms shapes out of them, usually in the shape of like one big Wolverine claw. And she's a lot of fun. She's definitely one of my favorite characters to write for. And I had her fight Cthulhu this time, and it winds up pretty funny and also a little bit gory at times. But so that was my input on Volume 3. I had a number of other teams that I work with, other artists. Frederick B. Roseman, he's from Mississippi, United States. I've worked with him a lot on, he's in that Gunmetal Black Ops book that I showed you. He's in at least 3 of the issues of Gunmetal Black Ops with stories. But usually he's the artist. This time he is both the artist and the writer. He did a ghost/Yakuza kind of story that takes place in Japan. I know he's very into anime and manga, and it sort of has like a manga kind of art style. His story does, and his is black and white and
Mhm.
red for the blood, and it's a pretty good story, I think, and I'm happy to have featured that. Um, Jeffrey Haas is also, sorry about these dogs. I don't know what they're barking at.
That's okay.
If anybody hears a dog
I'm an
barking in the
animal
background.
lover. It's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love them. It could be a bear outside. You really don't know. Um, but so the Jeffrey Haas did a story, which is part 2 in his Moloch Age of Enoch series. We'll have a third one next volume, and it's kind of about the child of a fallen angel and a human. So he's half angel, half human. And his mother and his father died in the first story, and this second chapter is kind of him going out and getting his revenge for his mother, and how he's like a child of rage. He's been raised by this Cyclops who also hates the humans. So that one's another kind of gory one, and then I think it involves him versus humans, then him versus angels. So that one's a lot of fun. And then the last 2 stories are there's Fever Dreams, which is a deep space sci-fi horror. That one's another one that's kind of got a little bit of gore, and some sci-fi mixed together. That's by Christopher McCulley. And that's part of his Dark Dreams universe, I think. He has a whole like role-playing game and I think a novel set in that universe. But that short comic sort of kicks off that continuity. It's like a prelude to that world. And then the last one is Brunch, and Brunch is by Joseph Cervellin on the writing, and Ben DeMaio on the art. And it's about a woman in Los Angeles who is being stalked by this like super creepy dude that no one else seems to be able to see. And it's just that was really fun. I found like almost the most terrifying story in the whole book, as far as like suspense and tension. And that one was a lot of fun. And I thought Ben's very unique art style like was perfect for it. It really brought the Los Angeles streets to life. And I really like how he did the dresses for the young ladies who are at Brunch. He like kind of almost like cut and pasted like full paisley patterns, and it really just came out really nice. So that's the 6 stories in volume 3. And yeah, cover art again will be done by Bayron, and everything is in Bayron's name this time. I've run the last 2 campaigns on my own Kickstarter account. This time it's on Bayron's account, because mostly all we're raising money for is to pay Bayron and to cover printing and shipping. We're only raising about $1,300. We're not trying to get, not shooting too high or getting greedy. We're trying to just pay the bills, make sure our artists are paid, and get this book out in November. So that's your goals.
Nice. Yeah. Well, what do you hope that readers take away? What do you hope they notice as they're looking through the work?
I would like them to see that we work with variety, that we have a variety of styles, both as far as the stories and the art, that we bring a good mix of people that are either, some of our artists are like full-time pro artists, some of our artists are people that are still paying their dues and doing these underground books, these like independently published books to get recognized by bigger companies. And so we run the full gamut of pro to am to pro, and yeah, that we have creative, unique, weird, different stories and art teams.
Nice. Well, if I'm a listener out there and I want to find out more, if I want to support the campaign and see the work, what are some places that I might go?
I think I gave you the link. If I didn't, like, I'm gonna do that as soon as we hang up, and then hopefully you can post it with this post. But yeah, I think it's Bayron Calderon is, if you can search him by name on Kickstarter, and I think the as far as a name for the Kickstarter, I think it's called Drawing Lucy, DrawingLuci. Drawing Lucy, I think, is the name of his Kickstarter page. And 13th Moon Volume 3, you could also look that up. And not the number 3, but the word 3. If you looked up 13th Moon Volume 3, that would pull it up as well. And if you wanted to look at some of our old books, some of which are free downloads, You could go to indieplanet.com/123go. I know Trouble Number 1 is a free download up there, and I think Gunmetal Black Ops number 2 is a free download up there right now. So you could download some of our books for free just to get a little sample of what we do and see, like, hey, wow, these people got their stuff together. And then go ahead and chip in $1, chip in $5, chip in $50, whatever a person can afford. We're just trying to raise enough to pay the bills. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of really cool rewards too. People are going to be able to pick up our whole entire back catalog of comic books. For $30 is our digital mega pack. So like everything 123go Publications has ever put out, they can get everything for $30. And in the first 5 days, if they order the $10 merch pack, which is, a couple stickers and buttons, we'll give you that $30 worth of we gave away that $30 worth of mega pack for free with the merch, ordering the merch. So we also are giving out, like I said, that story Bluetooth is one of the rewards that'll go in the digital stuff. You can get all 3 books digitally, all 3 volumes of 13th Moon. You can get the physical copies of 13th Moon. I think that's just about it. Like, we didn't want to go overboard. I think there's like 8 total rewards, either digital or physical. But yeah, so come check it out, and please come help us bring this book to life.
Awesome. Well, Phoebe, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the creating. It's a pleasure to share about your work, and I hope you have a wonderful and successful campaign, and I hope the puppies do well.
Thank you so much, Jason.